Tonight, part 2 of my interview with Steve Smith as we talk favorite red-green memories and moments. Steve answers 20-ish questions and even spills the secrets to a successful marriage. I kind of wish I'd asked him 20 years ago, actually. It's Up All Night with Bob. Stay, like, subscribe.
Early on when we were doing the Red Green show and we were doing our own promos, and I had a great cut line in the promo, and people were phoning into the office. They enjoyed it so much. And here it comes, okay?
Yeah.
When you've already wasted your whole life, what's another half hour? I love that.
That's great. Yeah, I hope that made it to a billboard at some point. That's, we're going to go on to 20-ish questions in just a moment. I want to share one last red-green memory because it's perhaps my most cherished one. So this is, I think, season 13, maybe. They've torn down the old school. Harold, this starts to dredge up old wounds or memories or something, and he starts soliciting this from more of the guys in the lodge, so that by the end of the episode, every one of the lodge members is a crying, sobbing mess.
Well, this is great. Harold's got half the lodge crying. We got a Kleenex shortage going on here. What exactly is Dalton's problem, Harold?
Well, it seems when he was a boy, his father gave him a chicken.
Yeah, but it was supposed to be a rooster. I waited for it to say cock-a-doodle-doo until I was 11.
It's really funny. But on the first show, for whatever Red's sign-off was or final joke, before saying keep your stick on the ice, it wasn't working, and I think all the crying and everything, it was just like kind of the energy was a little off.
Right.
So we're trying to crack the joke, and there are 1,000 times when this happened when I didn't have anything. But on this day, after a few tries, I said, "Oh, because here was the joke." So the setup. I know
what you're going to say.
You know this joke?
Yeah.
I haven't seen. So we knew it was going to be I haven't seen the guys this depressed since joke.
Okay, if my wife is watching, I will definitely be coming straight home after the meeting. I gotta get out of here. I haven't seen this many men crying since they canceled Baywatch.
Since Baywatch was canceled.
That's right.
I mean, it was the greatest. I remember to this day, it was the greatest line ever. It was fantastic. You just picked it right out of the air.
I was so pleased. And then it killed, and I just couldn't have been happier. So you came around the corner to do the final lodge meeting, and you gave me a big thumbs up, which was just great. Because usually, and nobody ever took, because you were so, you're in the zone, you got but you were really, you just gave me a big spot of thought, and I felt so great. And the other guys who had been trying to come up with the same line at the same time, I was doing this double thing where I was kind of going like, I'm really sorry. Sorry, guys. But it was the best. I just, anytime every now and again, it's happened occasionally, but every now and again, you knock one out of the park, and I was so pleased.
It was great that you were there to witness and actually feel it,
I never had a better time at any live show. Really, I never had a better time doing anything in TV than we did those tape nights. That was my favorite time of the year for like 9 or 10 weeks in the fall, twice a week, 2 shows a night. To give you a sense of how long ago this was, there was still a smoking room down the hall at the CBC, and Bruce and I would hide out there. They had these big old film can ashtrays, and a long time ago. But really, just such a treat. And I don't know that I knew. I certainly knew I was having fun. I don't knew that I knew what a kind of a singular experience it was. So I thank you.
Nice.
Number 1, Jackie Gleason or Dick Van Dyke?
Jackie Gleason.
I'm with you. Well, I think I'm with you on that. Oh, gosh, I love them both so much.
Well, I'm reading Dick Van Dyke's book right now, and his wife is 46 years younger than him. So there's a lot of jealousy going on. So I'm going Jackie Gleason.
Jackie Gleason. Okay. True or false? The Niagara Escarpment, near which you shot much of the Red Green show, has been declared a UNESCO World Biosphere Preserve.
I hope not.
Be a weird thing to make up, wouldn't it? It's actually true. It's actually true. Number 3, for a time on the show, you were driving a Dodge Viper. What was the fastest you ever got her up to?
I was doing 100 miles an hour on the 401, and there was a Mustang in front of me and a Camaro behind me. And we got a clear spot. I pulled into the slow lane and dropped it into fourth gear and just buried them. And the guy's looking at me like, how's this happening? You know, I didn't dare look down at the speedometer, but it was over 100.
Right. I wonder if they got a glimpse of you as you went by.
Yeah, I ended up selling that car because there was only one thing left to do in it, which was kill myself. So I thought, I'll pass it on.
The final chapter of every high-end sports car.
Yeah.
Favorite segment on the show to shoot?
Oh, I must say I really enjoyed the handyman corners because it was a combination of the physical, the mechanical with humor, and that most of them could actually work. You know, most of them could actually work for a little bit, you know.
So remember, women don't find you handsome. They should at least find you handy. Oh, I almost forgot. There's another bonus to this unit. I've actually added paddles to the drive wheels on her. So it's not just a boat carrier, it's an amphibious car.
I like that. To me, the word games it was the condensed version. It's the Reader's Digest version of comedy. It's just bang, bang, bang,
Hey,
bang.
what do you call people that come over to my house?
Exterminators.
No. Okay, a group of actors together form
An unemployment line.
No, okay. If you have like maybe 20 guys in the army, that's called
The Canadian military.
Bang, bangs. So I like that, but it didn't have the mechanical component that I enjoy.
Yeah. And you were an engineer. You studied engineering in university, yes?
I didn't study all of it. I looked at as much interest in me, and then I left the rest for the others. But yes, I have mechanical ability. I work on old cars even now, and I like doing stuff. I like cause and effect. So that puts you in.
Was there ever a handyman corner that just went so horribly awry you just had to scrap it? Never made it to air. Couldn't afford that. People say to me, you should do an outtake reel. I said, we aired them all, you know.
TV
on a budget. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, that's it.
Favorite segment on the show to write, if different.
Yeah, probably the midlife stuff, you know, the
desk pieces,
the desk pieces. You know, there was always, you're trying to help people as well as humor them.
And don't ever think that you can be current, all right? A man of our age got to wear his ball cap facing forwards. The shoes have got to cover his toes. And the crotch of his pants need to be in the general vicinity of the crotch of his
neck. Lorne Greene or Bill Shatner?
I got to go Lorne Greene.
I think that makes sense to me. When I was talking to Brent Budd a couple of weeks ago, and we were playing a similar game, and I like Rockford Files versus Columbo, and I said T.J. Hooker, and I meant to say Simon and Simon, but I wound up saying Smith and Smith, and for about 2 minutes, neither of us clued in. And I said, so T.J. Hooker or Smith and Smith, but ultimately we decided that you and Morag could take Bill Shatner in a fight, so it came out okay. Yeah, especially now. Yeah. You never seemed nervous to me backstage. Did you ever then, or have you ever suffered from stage fright?
And very early on in my career, I would get nervous. And then one day I had a little talk with myself, and I decided the audience had no use for me nervous. If they like nervous, they can get their uncles to do that. I've got to not be nervous or not do this. And honestly, I made that conscious decision, and that was it.
And nothing woo-woo, no breathing exercises or meditations, or just kind of mind over matter, if you will.
You know, I'm very protective of myself in terms of what I decide to do. So, if I was getting up at a comedy club, I'd be catatonic, but going out in front of either the audience for the TV show or when I was touring, they've gone through a filter. You know, if they're ambivalent about me, they're not there. So that takes away a lot of the nervousness.
Yeah. What was the largest live audience you performed in front of? Speaking of the tour, must have been some big houses on that, or bigger than the soundstage at CBC at any rate.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking Anchorage, Alaska. I think we had maybe 8,000 people. It was the biggest fundraiser they'd ever done in the history of. It was my first tour. I gave all the money to PBS. I forgot to mention that. So, and that was the biggest fundraiser they'd ever done. So that was pretty cool.
Wow. Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's great. Because and we didn't really talk about this, but when the show, so I'm assuming that maybe after those first couple of years at CHCH, that was when you basically hit the road and started kind of selling it one station at a time, right?
Yeah.
PBS?
Yeah. We ended up on PBS. I used to say PBS is educational television and the Red Green Show is recess, so.
How much coffee do you drink per day? And if so, how do you take it?
I have 1 cup of coffee in the morning and I have milk and a sweetener. There you go.
Okay. All right. Just the one though.
Just one.
That's probably wise. Here's another or for you. Danger Bay or the Beachcombers?
I got to go Beachcombers. I just got to. Bruno Gerussi. Bruno Gerussi.
I'm with you. When was the last, this is 12. What was the last time you were without beard?
Oh, I'm going to say 2008.
Okay, because you used to shave it in the off season sometimes, yeah?
Not according to no, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I did once, and my wife went crazy because she's always said to me, as soon as this show's finished, you got to shave that beard off. So I did, and then she was really mad because she wasn't involved with it. She wasn't involved with the decision. She wanted to either do it or watch it. She didn't want to see the results.
Right.
And what happens is, the beard, it's not a magical thing. It's not like, it doesn't protect your skin from aging. So when you take it off, there's an old person under there. So.
I've had about 3 or 4 beards in the last 10 years. And each time I grow one and shave it off, there's always more face than there was when I grew it. I think there's like a subconscious thing that just knows when I'm gaining weight, and I just sort of let the beard grow. Speaking of beards, I had 2 predictions for the Red Green finale, neither of which came true. One was that Red was going to shave his beard for the wedding. I thought, you're going to go back there, you're going to come out. The other was that Morag would appear as Bernice, and I don't think I was alone in that. I'm sure people have suggested over the years. Were either of those options ever on the table? Did you ever specifically Morag as Bernice?
No,
never once wanted to do that.
No, she didn't want to do that, and I kind of sheltered her from that experience.
Well, also there's a nice thing about keeping that. I mean, on Cheers, you never met Norm's wife Vera. On Mary Tyler Moore, you never met whatever Phyllis's husband, right? I mean, there's a long-standing TV tradition there.
Yes.
This is Carlton, your doorman.
Yes, Carlton.
Right.
Even though it's kind of tempting to kind of do something crazy in the finale, ultimately in reruns, well, it's like you've sort of shown everybody the man behind the curtains.
Well, I think it's radio. It's relating back to what I said before. Once you reveal that, look, we had like Junior Singleton and Stinky Peterson and Old Man Sedgwick, these characters you never saw. There was always a radio component to the show. So it wasn't just that you never saw my wife, And the other thing I want to point this out, that when I created the Red Green character, it was a cartoon character. I was making fun of Red Fisher. Right. Once we started doing the show, and in particular, when we got the audience in there, the audience forced me to make that character real. I could tell when I did something or said something that they didn't think Red would say or do, they would recoil. And then I had to change my pattern and stay within the box that they made.
Number 15, who founded the town of Hamilton, Ontario? Do you know his name?
I don't. I was told that it was some guy named Aberdeen, but I don't know.
Apparently there was a George Hamilton.
Oh my gosh, the 4th. He was a country gentleman.
Yeah. Not love at first bite, George Hamilton, I'm assuming.
George Hamilton, Mr. Tan.
He did a 2 Broke Girls when I was there, and it was right around Christmas, and we had a little Christmas party after the show, and I had a good little chat with George Hamilton. He was just as George Hamilton as you would hope, and he smelled great. Just, you kind of expect him to smell great.
I could smell him just through the television even.
You eat a hot dog, what's on it?
Mustard and relish. That's it.
That's it. No
That's
ketchup.
it. No ketchup.
How many pairs of red and green suspenders did you go through or have you gone through in the past 32 years?
Oh, I'm going to say a dozen. I had
Okay.
3 dozen shirts and 3 dozen pairs of pants, but I was easier on the suspenders.
Okay. And was all that stuff initially purchased sort of in bulk? Like, did Sandy Richardson go out and get all that, or I just want to work her name in real quick because she was.
Yeah, no, that was good. No, I mean, Mark's Work Warehouse was heavily involved in the early years.
Right.
And then we ended up with a store, redgreenshop.com. So all that stuff, when I was touring, half the audience would have my suspenders on.
Well, I should mention this at the tapings, bringing in 2 audiences a night. And I would say 50% of the audience would show up in costume.
Yeah.
And the guys, of course, would come down and fill out the seats at the lodge meeting.
Well, they want to get in the lodge meeting, right? That's why they wear it. So we had audience wranglers that would spot these guys and would give them a clothes peg. And the clothes peg was the indication that they're going to the meeting, right? So we could see about 30 or 35 people in the meeting. Well, one night we called, if you had a clothes peg, come on down. It's like 120 guys coming down to get in. What the heck? They brought their own clothes pegs from home.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Scalp and clothes pegs.
Somebody had figured out the system.
Yeah. They were there before and didn't get called. So anyway.
Oh, my gosh. Speaking of the guys who would come down with the clothespins, every now and again, a couple of lucky people would get to be in some other part of the show if there were people that we needed folks to run by the back window or something.
Right.
And one time, and this was one of, I think this was one of my pitches. It was it was a comic book convention, and the story sort of pivoted around a first edition of, I think, Aquaman.
Okay.
And somebody in the props department had actually gone out and gotten the real first edition of Aquaman. I'm pretty sure it was the real deal. And one of these clowns, we're backstage after the finish of the time, and he goes, "Oh," and I can see he's got something stuffed in his shirt, and he's kind of left it out a little bit, so that I could see it so it's kind of half of a joke, but he's folded up this 100-year-old comic and stuffed it in his shirt. I'm like,
yeah. That's my audience.
Yeah. Your wife is named
eggs to catch a potato.
Sorry?
They drop a dozen eggs to catch a potato. It's that
kind of thinking. Number 18. What is your favorite current show on television? And if none, what's your go-to rerun?
Oh my goodness. Okay, first of all, I don't really watch television. I watch Netflix, and Better Call Saul is way up there for me. And I never watch any reruns. I don't like reruns in my life, and I don't like them in my viewing habits. So
so you won't go back to a Seinfeld for the 5th time or anything else like that?
No.
Yeah. Number 19, your wife is named Morag, a Scottish name. What does Morag mean in Gaelic?
Sarah.
Oh,
her grandmother was named Sarah, and her parents thought that was too old-fashioned, so they named her Morag instead. And it's been every day she has to explain to somebody. So what she says now is, just think of more aggravation.
And number 20, here we go. This is a challenge. I'm going to push on this one. Let's see what you give me. You and Morag have been married for 56 years. Have you had your 56th anniversary yet, or 55th?
Whatever the Super Bowl is, it was 56 this year. So we're not 56 until November 11th of this year.
56-year married. Now, okay. What is Steve Smith's secret to a successful marriage, and would that advice differ from Red Green's?
I don't think it would differ. I think there's a very blurry line between Red Green and myself, so we're both going to have the same answer. And that, I would say, the secret is to marry somebody who's kind. Like, make that your number one priority over anything else.
I think that's good advice. I think a lot of young people, and when I say that, I'm thinking of me when I was younger, there's a tendency to, particularly in the kind of very pop culturally environment that a lot of Gen Xers grew up with, there's this sort of tendency to, well, she likes the same things I like. She likes the same bands, or she likes the same movies. That was always a trap I was falling into. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you like. It matters what you're like as a human being.
There you go.
I can't thank you enough for taking some time out. It's a great. I can't believe that it's been 21 years now since I met you and you hired me, and it started something which, for better or for worse, I've continued to do for a number of years. But it was a real formative experience, and I know everybody who was involved with it feels the same way. And so we thank you, sir. And I'm so glad you're doing it again. So again, we'll plug it one more time.
Okay.
The Possum Lodge podcast on Patreon.
Yeah.
They just go to the Patreon site and find it there? How does that work?
Yeah. The big wrinkle is it's totally subscription basis. We don't have any advertisers, no commercials, no sponsors or anything. We're doing from touring. I really enjoyed dealing with the end user. I spent a lot of years trying to sell refrigerators and everything, and now I just wanted to deal with the person who's enjoying what I'm doing, period. Keep it simple.
Yes.
It's like it's $1 a month, I think, and you can quit anytime.
Well, there you go. We'll put a link up on the screen. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your warm summer, and then it's back to Florida in the fall, I guess, or closer to Christmas.
Yeah, I think by the end of October, Halloween, I'll be
around Halloween
again. Yeah, I think so.
Sounds about right.
Anyway, this is a pleasure for me too, Rob. And you're the number one writer we had on the show. Absolutely, without question.
Oh, well, thank you so much for saying that. That's very kind. I really appreciate that. It was a good training round. You taught me also, I think, more than anything, just the discipline of needing to crank out material. I mean, there were so many. How many segments were there in each show? About 12, 14? I mean,
12 to 14, depending on the length. But yeah, it was in around that. It's a lot of stuff. I mean, our podcast is all totally scripted. So, and I'm writing that. So it's just.
Yeah. Oh, it's totally scripted. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
oh, well, I'm in. All right.
It's a radio show. It's not a podcast. It's a radio show.
It's a radio show. Yeah. Oh, this sounds great. I can't wait. I'm glad we can hopefully turn some more people onto it. Terrific. Well, God bless you, sir.
You too, my friend.
All right. Take care.
Yeah.